All right, so we can get started.
I guess.
Welcome back. And today Pavel is going to be presenting developing and testing APIs using Postman.
Yep. Thank you. So as Alfred said, that's the topic of the brown bag. I must confess I really didn't plan to do any drawings or illustrations that you may be used to when seeing my presentation, but Liam kind of insisted, so I find a last-minute change so I can put there something. And since I'll be talking about Postman, I would like to first start with some myths and some urban legends maybe, and some understanding of Postman or stuff around Postman or Postman. So the first one, obvious, that comes to mind is that Postman always rings twice, right? That's especially in Czechia. We don't have Postman ringing twice. We have Postman that don't ring at all, just leave you a notice. And I think it's beautiful. So this is obviously a wrong assumption. Now the other myth that I think of when I thought of Postman, it's a common trope of some movies, some soap operas and jokes, for example, like the one where this old witch tells a young girl that her father will die when she turns 18, So the girl turns 18, she's all sad, afraid what she will find, but she sees her dad is completely okay, drinking his tea and stuff. But when they open the door, there is a dead postman. So the second think about Postman and that they are actually the fathers of your children and stuff. I did some research in it. I asked my wife, obviously, and she said that it's definitely false statement. But maybe in some cases that may be true. So this will remain unclear. It may be true or not. And the third myth regarding Postman, and that's actually really about the topic of this presentation, is that Postman for API testing, that it's useless and nobody should use it because you can do everything with curl. And I don't have anything against curl, except I'm not sure whether I'm pronouncing it right. I never know whether it's curl or CURL or whatever. And really, if you think even about Postman as a tool for just ad hoc testing or debugging your API, sending HTTP requests and getting responses and investigating them, I agree that you can do the same with curl, and I'm perfectly fine with it. But now I will try to show you some advanced stuff that you can actually do with Postman, and I'm pretty sure that you cannot do it with curl or not in that matter that we will talk about. So maybe just a quick question. Is there anybody who never executed Postman? And I mean like the program, not the Postman that I was talking about. Like maybe I should ask, who never turned on Postman? No. Who never used Postman? Nobody? So no. There are some hands. Okay. So I will take it slower maybe. For those who use it, just give me like a head shake or head nod when I will be throwing some terms at you. Did you ever use, for example, collections in Postman? Yeah. Some environments, different environments. Okay, I see you are excited about this. Environmental variables, different ones. Thank you, Irina, got the point, yeah. Different workspaces, maybe. Not that much, I see. And for example, shared workspace, so you can work with your colleagues on the API. I thought so. So just a brief overview of how Postman looks when you start it. You usually get some, it's an application that can run. It can be a desktop application. I believe it uses Electron. So in fact, it behaves kind of like a web page, but you can run it on your desktop. There is also a web version, and everything is shared in the cloud. So once you signed in, you do some work, it's stored in the cloud, so you can continue from any other device. So that's like nice. You can, the simple interface is you have a part with the request that you will send, and you can then expect and inspect the response that you receive. And as I said, you can organize your work into collections. That's kind of like a building block, as you will see in Postman, and you can track, for example, history of your request. So yeah, it kind of helps you with working with the HTTP requests, and you can test your REST API. Now Postman has kind of good support for GraphQL as well, so you can use it for testing and debugging your GraphQL server. And if you were like me, maybe you were using collections the wrong way. Now you see example where I was using it for grouping my request per project that I was working on. Or so I have some collections for my projects. And then I was, for example, doing something with OutZero API. So I'll have collection for OutZero. And it becomes kind of messy. You see, I'm not using any environment at all here. And I'm using like the default workspace. The first recommendation for you, if you are using different project or working on different project and want to have things organized, you should work with Workspaces. So you create a workspace for each project or for any activity that you would like to do. And because you will find out that you will use multiple collections for the same project, you can have different collection for tests, for documentation, for mock server, for different types of tests. You can write contract tests, integration tests, and stuff like this. So you would like to have it under one project in different collections. And it also allows you to use different environments. So for one project, you would like to, for example, test the API on localhost, but the same request should be used on production or a staging environment. And so if you put everything in one workspace, you will find yourself having tons of environments, like project 1, staging, project 2, localhost, and stuff. So keeping it in workspace makes it much better organized. Here, for example, if you see, I don't know if how many of you said that they were using variables or environmental variables. So this is the format that you will be seeing quite often in the following presentation. So Postman allows you to have variables and like placeholders, and they can be different for each environment. So when you specify a request, you put URL there, and when you change the environment, it will substitute the variable with the correct URL. So that. Oh, well, this is actually a screenshot, so I will make it bigger when I will show you the real thing. But or come closer, yeah. I already thought I make it bigger. This is much bigger than I usually use it. So, but come on, Thomas. So, and this screen maybe we will see also quite often in the following minutes, because that's when something goes wrong and Postman crashes or do something unexpected, because the rest of the brown bag will be actually a live demo. So what can go wrong? I'm not nervous at all. Yeah, but let's see. It will definitely work out well. So let's head to it. So this is still quite a small, right? No. Okay, it will be tough to control it, but let's try. So I opened a fresh new Postman. I don't have anything there, and let's imagine that we are a small team of 3 people, like a backend developer, front-end developer, and a tester, obviously. And we would like to develop a great project of like a hot peppers database. Well, obviously, what can we do? Anything else? So yeah, I started as a developer of the backend here, and I'm already in the shared workspace working with my team. And I already added other members like the front-end developer and the tester. So Postman kind of encourages me that I have nothing there and I should start working on an API. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. So let's hit this button, create an API. Let's put your name, some peppers, API version. I'm not that confident about it right now, so let's start with 001. If you already have some project and have some, for example, some schema of your API, whether being it like the Swagger Open API or even GraphQL, you can import it and continue working on it, but we will create a fresh new stuff. So let's see what happens when I create an API. Okay. The Postman creates some simple draft of the schema for me. So I can, if that's your thing, you can design your API from the schema, but I'm not sure that anybody actually does that. It allows me a lot of options here that we will maybe fill a little bit later, but I will try a different approach. I don't want to write any code yet, even though I'm a developer, that's what I do, but I would like to a little bit think about my API, design it, maybe set up some mock server, try some stuff, even write some tests. So we will actually start by creating a mock server. And I did like this new. By the way, what I like about Postman that is quite a large community, and you have a lot of templates and a lot of examples and already pre-made solutions. So, for example, if you are working with PayPal API or OutZero, you can import already created collections of the requests, document it, and you can do it right away. So you don't have to create your own. But as I said, we will create a mock server for our amazing hot pepper API. So I'm thinking about the endpoints that I will probably need. So let's, of course, start all of them with the API prefix. And I will probably have to have some list of peppers. So this will give me like 200 response code. And the response body, I don't have to care about it that much, but just a draft, it will be some list of peppers. Again, then another get request will be like peppers with some ID. Either you can specify like one, or you can use like placeholder for the ID, and it will be just the pepper object. Okay. Now I'm getting really into it, so let's experiment with different types of requests. So post, like we are in the Postman anyway. All right. No, I got it. Well, okay, post. Oh, fine. Post. So post will create a new pepper object and store it into my database. So when I post to the peppers API, yeah, I need to display like, come on, this is crazy how it's small. But let's do a request body will be some pepper object, and I will expect to have like pepper with ID, for example, or like with this ID, and the response code would be probably like 201 or something. And like let's not too overcomplicated, but let's prepare a delete request that will delete a pepper with the ID that I specify. And I'm not sure if it should be 200 or 202 or whatever. That's up to discussion with my team. We will have a platform to discuss it. That's fine. Should it have a response body? Whatever, like, okay. And I'm fine. This looks like a nice beginning of my wonderful API. So, and Postman immediately allows me to create a mock server. So I will name it like peppers mock. Don't care about this one. We can make it public. We are proud of it. And yep, I should have my mock server already up and running. I can copy the URL so you can try it. And so it created, first of all, it created a collection of the requests that I just planned. That's nice. And the mock server should be already running. So let me close this. If I try the URL that it gave me and try the like API peppers endpoint, I should already, yeah, this is my like the prepared response that I set up. It's not much yet, but we'll work on it. So as you can see, you have the collection. As I said, you can try the request from the Postman, and the response is not coming. That's great. Yeah, I know why. Because it doesn't know what the URL is yet, or it has some localhost there. It's some reminder. Oh crap! I didn't delete it. Never mind. I can choose my environment that I prepared, and now the URL should be substituted with the mock URL, right? I will just check whether it's the correct one. No, obviously not. So sorry. That's not planned, but let's deal with that. Okay. We should have it now set up to my, yep, that's it. So if I send it, I get the response that I drafted, basically. So now how to change the mock server behavior so it will give you some like valid responses or some better responses. Here you will notice the example, and your example response is prepared there. And it has exactly the body that you drafted in the origin. So I will just name it to see whether a list of peppers. And I want it to be more serious. So I will, first of all, it won't be text, it will be JSON. And it will be some array of peppers, which will have, for example, some ID. It will be something, blah, blah, blah. Sorry for the formatting. It will have the name, some, I don't know, shishito is a good pepper, whatever. Damn it. And it will have, for example, a strength of the pepper, something like this. It will be, what the hell?
You're missing column behind name.
Oh, thank you. This way. Okay, live demos. And it will be this. Now, also the good thing or the nice feature of Postman, you don't have to have like hard-coded values. You can use like prepared dynamic variables. So, for example, I would like to have some random integer here. Let's try it. If you save it, try your request again. Okay, it's getting closer, but not exactly the one that we want. It's still in the text formats because I forget to set up the header of the response. It would be actually nice if Postman would like put it there for me when I set up the JSON, but not everything is perfect yet. So it will be application JSON, same example, and there we go. You got a JSON response. Looks better. It's still not like. Let's deal with it like this, and maybe we would like to have some image of the pepper as well. So let's introduce another image, which will be some HTTP address of an image. We can have a placeholder for it as well. There is some random gets image, for example. Okay, looks nice. We'll actually not be able to see it right now. We just see the URL, which, but we may actually, there's a new feature in the Postman that I still feel that it's kind of gimmicky, but let's try it. You can actually visualize your request in some HTML template, and we can have a use of this. I have the template prepared because it's kind of like a thing. So maybe you wonder why I put it to the tests. That's also something that I think will be changed a little bit, because Postman allows you to prepare something like in your pre-request phase and in your post-request phase. But since now you are doing only testing after sending a request, now you can use the visualization, but it still fits. Sorry. Still, you have to put it to the test, but I think they will change it something to like post request or something. Now when I send it, okay, I will have to switch. You should see some visualization. You can write your HTML code like this. You can use some template things like for each item in the response, generate this row of the table. I actually don't know whether I will use it, but maybe as some front-end developer that wants to visualize the response, you can put your snippet there and see it immediately in the Postman and stuff. Okay, let's go on. I'm still developing now, for example, with the post request when I'm actually inserting the pepper. I'm sorry, I will close the remaining ones. So, what I was, yeah, I have one response again, like some pepper with ID, which I can work on again. But I would actually like to know what happens if I send some request with some, for example, wrong or missing data or something like this. So sorry, I will just copy this this object so I can work on this. So if I send pepper, this won't be here. The image won't be there, obviously. So now I'm trying to insert a pepper into my database, and I don't specify the name. Because I didn't tell the mock server to behave otherwise, it will still tells me that it returns some pepper with ID, which I will save as a new example. So it allows you to set up multiple examples there. And I will directly specify that when the body, when the body is like this, something like this. Come on. I should return. Okay, let's turn it to JSON. I will never do live demos anyway. When the body is JSON like this, the response should be something else, and it should. Oh crap! It should, for example, return error code 500, right? Like server error. That's a nice general message, general error, and the message would be like, "Oops." That's what I see a lot. So that looks like a nice behavior. Now let's try if it will work, and I think it won't because I probably did something weird here. Let me modify this. Okay, it's still not working, but I know exactly why, obviously. The thing with the mock server there is that it originally only matches the URL of the request and doesn't, for example, inspect the body or header. So it still returns you the one example that you have there. So if I check the one that I prepared here, I hope, and I really do hope it will work. You should specify like a custom header for your request to match the request body. So I will put it here into request. True, and now fingers crossed. Crap. Okay, another problem. Maybe it doesn't. No. Well. That you are matching what? Aha. Okay. Thank you. That's nice. That's. See, I was testing who will figure this out. The strength was 1, right? 3. Thank you. Oh, you are watching. That's nice. I was just checking. And I really do hope. Oh, yeah, I got my oops. Perfect. So I won't go through all the requests here. I actually got them like ready baked. So I hope I will be able to upload them. So this is the mock. I will import it. Okay. No, I can remove this one. So yeah, here I got my request. And one thing, you immediately, as you create your collection and your mock server, you got for free your documentation. So when you can choose to view your API on the web, and you got all your requests here. You have some documentation that you can do. It can be using Markdown, but I know only headers how to do them, so I'm using headers a lot. You also got your example responses here that you can even switch between. So you see, I have prepared some responses for non-existing pepper, for single pepper. So this way, anybody who is interested in this can check my API and check what I'm doing there. Okay. Now, yeah, one thing I need because I imported a new mock new collection. I will need to create a mock server from it again. Because I deleted the previous collection and okay, let's keep it like this, and I need to update my URL. Alfred, maybe time check. Oh, fine. Okay, that's fine. I need to change the URL here to match my new mock server. Fine. I'll just quickly try whether it's still working. And it does. Okay, perfect. Visualization, no, I deleted. Never mind. So one thing, I have a collection for my mock server, and you saw I was testing already some of the requests there, but you really shouldn't mess with your collection that has purpose to serve as a mock server. So if you want to test your actual results and you want to play with your API, you should create a new one. Let's call it like peppers test. Like testing, nice. And here you can, for example, as I was testing the adding of the pepper, I would create like two different requests. Add pepper, like, okay, and that one would be with the full body. And yeah, I can delete the example, so because this one has a different purpose, but it's just like a cleanup. You don't have to do it, right? So when I do it, I get my adding of the pepper, right? Okay, it's working, and I will create a new one with the missing body. Wrong. Okay, and I will delete. What should I delete? The name. Okay. I know. I was hoping Jirka will tell me. Let's try it. Okay. Get the oops. So now when I'm playing with it, I'm testing it, manually. It's, I think, the right time to actually write some tests. And I'm not still switching to my tester account because still, as a responsible developer, I can prepare some tests for my own request, right? And in Postman, it's really simple. It's using JavaScript, and the assertion library and all the stuff is, I believe, Chai. So you can really write simple functions there that will be verified against the responses. And even if you are not sure how to start, it has a lot of snippets there that you can use immediately and test your. This is awesome. So, for example, like the status code should be 200. Let's try it. Oh, it failed. Why? Because. Oh, okay. Oh, nice. See, I was writing incorrect test and it's already working. It proved my point. So 201. Thank you. And the test is passing. Awesome. I have a bunch of tests, but let's again do the magic trick where you put the thing into the oven, and after 5 minutes, we will have our cake ready. So some first phase of the test can look like this. Let's check what we have here. So you can, for example, test for successful pull request that the response code will be one of the two, 201, 202. Status can be created, but usually we would be, for example, interested in the data that you received, that it's in the proper format. Like it should be a number, that, for example, the name should be like starting with a capital letter and stuff like this. So it's really kind of easy to write the test like this. And what you can do with them, like let's try whether it's still something is failing. Let's try to debug. Expected undefined to be number. Okay, we get something got something weird from the response. What I'm asserting. So that's a quiz for you because I don't see it. Strength is there. Sorry?
Underscore.
Awesome. Yeah, you passed my test. And thank you, by the way. And where okay, yeah. So yeah, I will probably want to use the underscore ID. I see that the mock is not giving me underscores. That's weird. So what's the heading? Okay, let's try. Let's check the example. Let request. Okay, it really doesn't. So I thought the mock server to handle it proper way. And when I run it now, something is still wrong. See, I was expecting strength 1, but the actual strength is 2. Never mind. Let's do it this. Okay. So now I'm already, I see I have something wrong, different from my designs. That's why the tests are there to check it. I don't have to run like only one test like this manually. Postman has a test runner that can run my whole collection of tests. So you just prepare your test that you would like to run. You specify the environment. We still have only the one. And you just run it. And you see, I got still something wrong there. But I don't want to get too much deep into it. I would be able to probably resolve some of the problems right now, but now let's not do it. Just for you that you will see that it's working. You have, Postman has a console where it stores all the requests, so you can inspect it on this level as well. So this was, I still have to run it like by pressing a button, right? So you would probably like to include some of your tests to, for example, your continuous integration pipeline or something like that. And the Postman has a command line tool called Newman that allows you to run your test from the command line, and it's specifically designed to be, for example, included in your Circle CI or Jenkins or Travis or something like that. I don't want to go too much deep into it. It would be for another Brownback, but it's possible to do it. So you don't have to even execute the Postman in order to run your test. But if you are still not sure, Postman is a tool for managers as well, which I'm not implying anything, but you don't know how to, for example, set up your Circle CI pipeline, but you still want to have like some constant monitoring of your API. You can do it also from Postman. There is an option to set up a monitor from your collection. So we'll try it. So it will run this collection. It will use this environment, the mocked one, and you can set up some timer that you would like to run it every day or every night, every 5 minutes, whatever. And let's see what happens if you create it. Yeah, it creates a web dashboard for you with the results of the run, and I'm afraid it will be quite buggy as we could see, but let's try to run the monitor. Something going wrong, preparing. Yeah, so my tests are not that ideal in that ideal condition, but the result was recorded. When I run it again, it keeps tracking the history. Apart from the results from the test cases, it also tracks, for example, the average response time, so you may get the idea of your API performance. And so you will have the overview over time, and you will see if something wrong is happening to your API. Wow, now it was fast, but still failing. Okay, let's further pause this because I don't want my code to be depleted. And so this is monitor, mocks we covered. Now I would like to actually, let's imagine that I actually developed the server, which I have somewhere here, and let's try to npm run it. So the API should run on the localhost. Let me just quickly test it in the browser. It should like API peppers. Okay, it's giving me something. So now I can add my localhost, which I already have here. And okay, I'll give back some things. The URL is this one. So now I should be able to run my request against that localhost, right? So because I was using variables in the URL or in the API endpoint, let's try this one, and I will just duplicate it. So I will use it in my tests. Where do I have it? I'm kind of nervous here, but yeah, I'm getting some responses. I cannot visualize because I didn't save it back then. So let's quickly use the visualization again for the presentation purposes. I love the small window here. Okay, yeah, I'm getting some images of peppers. That's awesome. My localhost is working. The tests are not here, but for example, if I would like to add a new pepper, let's see what happened. Oh, it did something, but some test is not working. Yeah, again, the string was different than I actually. So it's actually a good test when you see something. It's you are sending something, expecting something else. That should be a proof that your test is wrong. But now when I fixed it, it's working. Okay, maybe a quick look for the collaboration part that I was trying to promote, and I kind of forget about it. As I said, you can have multiple users working on the same collection. So, for example, let's now switch to the front-end guy that comes to this thing. He's using the dark theme because everything now should have dark theme, and I can see, hopefully, after a while, maybe I need to sync. Yeah, it should be there. I have the history, but I don't have. It's coming. I see everything that my colleague did. I also have some notification about activities that my colleague was doing. Actually, do you see the dark theme better, or is it just me? I don't see anything, but never mind. I can even see some changelog, so I know who has been working on what. I can comment things there. For example, I, as a front-end developer, really don't like how the deleting or how the adding pepper behaves when I have the wrong data, because I noted from the example response, for example, or from the documentation that it's returning the 500, like the general server error, and I would like, come on, backend developer, you're lazy guy, you should give me something better. So I will write, like, you can mention him in the comments, like, oh my god, no, like, please give me something better, like some better response, but otherwise I kind of like it. Maybe I'm into the documentation stuff, so I can improve the documentation a little bit. I see that the documentation is not using enough markdown, so I will add, oh, well, this one actually is. And I can edit the documentation either here or even from the page as I showed you earlier. By the way, I should see my comments here as well, like, so you can see the discussion on the web page as well. You can edit the documentation here, and it should be updated in the Postman as well. Let's check. Database should change to DB or something. Oh, it takes a while, but it's not the important stuff. Now we will move a little bit further, and we, for example, to spice things up. See what I did there. Let's pretend we want to add like user management there, and now the things will become more interesting because we will be dealing with tokens and user emails and stuff like that. But don't be worried, Postman has nice ways how to handle those. Let's imagine we will like new endpoints for registering users and for logging them and obtaining out or some JWT tokens, and then we will need to use those tokens in further requests. Because it will take quite a lot of time, let's see what we have there, the final one. Import, we can delete the copy. So, can you see it here? Now we have endpoints for registering users. That when I send some email, it will. Let's try it. Sorry, I will need to spin up the mock server again. This is usually you won't have to do this, but because I'm doing those tricks here, I need to create a mock server from the collection again, just to give the proper version. Let's update the URL here. Date, cool. Let's hope it will work. If I send, oh yeah, I get some ID and the email. I obviously don't have the password there. Well, it can be there. Why not? And when I log in with the user, I should obtain some some token. And let's see, for example, that the deleting of a pepper shouldn't be no longer possible without the token. I'm not sure whether I have those. No, I should have it in the test. So 1 second. Let's see. Peppers test. Replace. And which one was that? Okay. Peppers. Delete the pepper. Yeah, this was okay because I sent the token already, but if I don't use any authorization, oh, okay, that works. Never mind. Let's like screw the mock server. Let's work with the real environment, but I don't have it implemented there as well. Never mind. Something went wrong, but you get the idea, right? We can spend now 10 minutes so I can fix it, but you don't want to do it. What I wanted to show you more is how you can handle those type of variables. I probably never said variable correctly during the whole presentation, but in the test and using some pre-request scripts and the variable stuff, you can really, for example, let's say when the user register, you said that you received the email, but actually the logging is what interests me. I get the token. So in the tests, which I already said, are executed after you receive the response. You can do some, the typical stuff, checking of the status. You can verify that the response contains the token. And it matches some regular expression or what have you. And see, here I'm already working with the token a little bit. I'm logging it to a console, so it should be somewhere here. Yeah, so I know the token. And for example, now I would like to use it in my different requests. So you can, from the script, save the value of anything to the variables. And the variables in Postman have different scopes. You can have environmental variables that are really specific for that environment. You can have global variables that are basically everywhere. You can have collection variables that are available only for that collection. You got the idea. So I will use collection variables because I will use this token only in my tests. And so I will call it token. That's original name, and I will save the token value that I just received from the response. And now, for example, when I would like to delete the pepper, I can use this variable here, and I should, now it's unresolved because I didn't send it and save it. When I delete it, I should have it available, should have. Normally it works, but you know how it works now. I know. I'm not setting it. It cannot work. And now, yeah, finally, I see it, and I can use it for my request. So how can, like, okay, I will just for the record switch to the tester guy that comes to this and see, yeah, the guys are kind of good. The API looks really awesome. They are even testing their stuff. They are really verifying that you know, the API works and that it's getting the right values. But let's imagine I would like to do some integration tests to verify that really, you know, the data are being stored correctly to the connecting database, and that really, for example, when I get some list of peppers, I delete one, and then I check it again, I see a reduce list or something like that, like a flow that has a couple of steps. And I will again import my already made one, and what I will be trying is, okay, let's see if I have some documentation. Well, no. I would like to delete a pepper, and first I will attempt to delete it as a not logged in user. Then I will try to register a new user, log in as that user, and then delete the pepper again, and it should be deleted. So I can set up the requests in the order that I would like them to execute it. So now don't think about these requests as an individual test, basically, but as a steps of the test, right? So first of all, I need to get the pepper ID that I would like to delete. Let's switch that I will be using the real localhost environment. So what I will do, just call the get request, and let's see. You know, I'm getting the list of the peppers there, and I will, for example, pick the first one here and store again the pepper ID into a collection variable. Do I get it right or no? Awesome. Now I see I have two variables in my request: the URL that comes from the environment and the pepper ID, which I set in the previous step. So that's right. User not authorized, but that's exactly what I was looking for. So now let's try to register a user. Again, only one variable. That's kind of sucks, but what have you. Okay, I got a new user. Yeah. Now, when you are trying to register users or logging with users, you kind of come across the problem that you, for example, try the same email twice, and if you are set up correctly, the backend should tell you, no, don't try it. There is already a user with this name, which kind of screws your flow. So one thing I was thinking, I will use this random email dynamic variable, but it doesn't work because you need to keep the email because you will use the same one for logging. So you can use here the pre-request script to do so, and you can. Okay, now I'm using the old way. I'm kind of using the dynamic variable from Postman to generate a random email and set it as a collection variable so I can get it again in the next step. But this is kind of lame because still, you know, if it's random, it can happen that you get the same email twice. So you can, for example, write some simple, you know, you can use email that is using, for example, the current timestamp or something like that. I don't know if I prepared there, but it's set at a time. Oh yeah, I'm already almost done. But come on, screw it, let's do it. Let's do it quickly. So JavaScript. Okay. Not okay. Timestamp date now, right? that will work. Okay, and I will use the email as backticks. Okay, you can do it. You can do it. Plus the timestamp, right? And it will be salsitasoft.com. Oh, most important. Okay, let's try this. Let's check the console. I'm really creating some kind of random email. I'm registering it, and it should be saved in my. It should be saved in my. It should be saved definitely somewhere in my collection variables, so I can use it in my body of the request. And I get a token. Yep. And now, again, 2 variables in the request, which is a sign of something awesome, and the delete is success, and we are done, basically. So, and again, please remember, we could do a lot of stuff before we even run our own server. We can talk with my teammates about the designs. We can test it, even without writing a single line of code. We can then easily take the whole collection, and just by switching the environment, we can run our test again, the real server. So this is how I would imagine the collaboration can work. I'm not definitely selling Postman as the one tool that we can use for this. When you want to collaborate, you have to pay for the users, actually. Bad news. I would be grateful if we have some free tool or something different. But what I saw on many projects here, that sometimes either internally communication about the API being developed took place in different, you can chat in Slack, you can have some Jira tickets, please at this endpoint. Then you have a Confluence page with the API documentation that it's like really old. And especially when you are, for example, working with the client developers, which are using the front end and you are developing the back end, it's kind of hard to agree on something. And I like Postman because you really have one source of truth that everybody can participate in. Everybody can run the tests and ask, why is this failing? You can see the documentation, you can publish it. I really think we can make some improvements in our API development and communication between the consumers and the providers. And Postman may be one tool to have it, but I'm not insisting. I'm not an agent of the Postman. I just like it. I will use it definitely for my personal testing, but it's up to you to try it and see if it will work on your project, for example. And by that, I take my leave and leave you some space for questions. Okay.
So on the mock server that you make, is it possible to put in dynamic return values? Like, it takes what was in the request and it spits it back out in the response?
You can do it, well, but not exactly. No, it can work with the environmental variables, but because you cannot, it already has the response prepared once the request comes in, so it knows everything about the request. I guess you can, yeah. Well, if you set the environmental variable after you send the, or even before you send the request, you can set it up to be the environmental variable for the mock server. Yeah, so technically, yes, you can do it. But usually with the mock server, you're trying to keep it quite dumb, and once you find yourself, implemented a lot of logic into the mock server, you can put that effort into implementation of the real thing. But to prepare, for example, 5 different examples on the mock server just for the illustrating of different scenarios would be probably better. I wouldn't go too much into programming this, some dynamic stuff there, but it is possible, but I wouldn't highly recommend it.
And one other question for me. When you generate the documentation for the API on there, is it only available within Postman, or do they allow you a way to export it and use it in other places?
It is. You can make it public, and you can either invite people if you want to keep it private, but you can even publish it in some ways, and you can definitely even make it public. And you can specify the access if you want other people, or if it should be public, you can do it, or you can restrict the access only to some people from your team or from client's team to see it. It has some publishing options there.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
So does it support WebSockets? And have you tried WebSockets?
Yeah, I kind of saw that coming, and no. Postman can use only like HTTP request-based communication. For WebSockets, there are alternative ways that work similarly, but unfortunately, and I really wish we have WebSocket there as well, but no. No.
All right, maybe I have one question, and this is coming from a non-engineer. So take that.
That's the best
I know
question.
of other API prototyping things like Apiary. How does this compare?
Yeah. As I told, there is a lot of tools. Maybe like one of the more even like known is Swagger, that I believe also have now its own studio and inspector and allows you to do a lot of stuff. I think it's basically a matter of choice, what you want from that. I like Postman maybe because I was using it for a long time, and I see that they are still adding new features that are kind of useful. But I think you can go with API, but that's more for like the documentation, right? You know, what I like, probably because I'm testing the APIs, is the preparing the tests and running them there. And I don't know if API allows you to do that. Probably not, but maybe it's better for the communication, definitely for the documentation. Sorry. Now I realize I even didn't touch the whole API thing here, where you can define your schema that I also have somewhere prepared, but that's just post-credit scenes. You can leave if you want. You can have your schema there, and then the nice thing is either you can version your schema. You can add a new version, a new schema, and you will see again the difference between that. You can when you add your, for example, the test there, which I can do at my test suite here, and you can, for example, validate your test against the schema, which probably won't work now because I have some other endpoints in my tests already. But you can keep things concise in this. You can use it. You can see the history of your development. You can even sync your schema with the GitHub repository. So anytime you create a new version, you can sync it, and everybody will see what changes you did in the endpoints and stuff like that. So we can keep it more consistent. And that's really all from me. I promise.
If your token has expiration date, can you regenerate new one automatically based on some private key? Or
yes. Well, you would still have to call the endpoint that provides you with the token anyway. And I do it in a couple of scenarios where I really need to have the fresh token. So I put another request into the pre-request script. So it will call the endpoint before executing the actual request that I'm like aiming for. Like I don't think I have the example here. But for example, I can, here I'm kind of expecting to have the token. Oh, sorry. It was in the, yeah. Here I'm expecting the token to already have one, but I can put to the pre-request script some, call to the API again. So it will generate me very fresh script. Maybe I have it somewhere here. Oh yeah, something like this. You can use the send request function from Postman. You can address some API, and then you can work with the data that you receive and put them to the actual request that you are sending here. Is it what you meant? So
yeah.
Okay, anything else? No. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Pavel.